kittens, it's Sugar, and I'm finally doing part 2 of my Parabens, Sulfates, Mineral Oil, oh my, Parabens, Sulfates, Mineral, oh my, Parabens, Sulfates, Mineral Oil, oh my. I can't say that very well. Parabens, Sulfates, Mineral Oil, oh my. So this video is all going to be about sulfates, what they are and what they do, and why some people don't want them in their products, and what science or the experts have to say about that. Sulfates, and you'll hear me talk about sulfates a lot when I'm doing a product review, because I do go in and look at all of the ingredients in a product. For me, if I'm reviewing a product, I care about not only what it does, but what it's made out of. And because if I can find something that is made out of better ingredients, but does the same job, then I'm probably going to want that product more. And if that product is even cheaper, hell yeah, right? So I like to be an educated consumer, and I like to share my education with you. It's what I do. It's why you love me. It is. What sulfates are is they're a detergent, and what detergents are they're the thing that bridges the gap between oil and water so that you can remove oil from surfaces, whether it's a countertop or a kitchen, or it's your face and your body and your hair. So sulfates are soap. Sulfate is the chemical term, or one of the chemical terms for soap. And there are a huge family of sulfates. There's probably 20 to 30 different types of sulfates. So when you're saying sulfate, or you're seeing things that are marked sulfate free, understand that that's a whole family of chemicals that essentially bridge the gap between water and oil. And they're in a lot of personal care products because they foam. So that is the ingredient that makes your shampoo foam. It's the ingredient that makes your face wash foam. So that's really important to know that those are basically a foaming ingredient. It's that foam that causes the bridge between oil and water. So when you bridge the two, it creates foam, essentially. So what are sulfates? Well, they're mineral salts. So they're made from an oil base and sulfuric acid. Okay, so when you mix the oil base with sulfuric acid, you get sulfates. And depending on what oil base you use, it's going to give you a different sulfate. Hence why there's a variety of different sulfates, 40 or more different sulfates, because it depends on the oil that the sulfuric acid is mixed with. The most common one you'll see is sodium lauryl sulfate or sodium laureth sulfate. And that's important because those are made from petroleum oil. So for those of you that are earth hippies like me, you want to steer clear of those particular sulfates because they're made from petroleum, which is not a renewable resource. However, there are other sulfates, other sodium sulfates that are made from coconut oil and olive oil and all of the other natural oils out there, avocado oil, and they're going to have a slightly different scientific name when you're reading the label. So if you're really interested in that, please go ahead and do the research on that. I'm not going to do that for you today because I've got too much to cover, and y'all need to do some of the lifting on your own because I do a lot of heavy lifting for y'all. Essentially, sodium lauryl sulfate and sodium laureth sulfate are petroleum oil and sulfuric acid. You mix those together, and what that does is it creates soap. This is how soap is made. Soap is mixed with an acid, and that's how we clean. And it's really common knowledge. So for those of you that scares you, know that the chemicals are in everything. Chemicals are in our body, and that's natural. Chemicals are a natural thing, and even too much water can kill you. So know that concentrations of things make a big difference, because I know sometimes this science stuff can get scary and overwhelming. Why are you seeing sulfate-free shampoos and cleansers, and why is this a big deal? Well, for one, sulfates can irritate a skin. If you're extremely sensitive, or if you have really dry, brittle hair, sulfates can be mildly irritating, because what they're doing is they're breaking up that oil in your skin and on your body and in your hair and removing it. And that process can be mildly irritating depending on the strength of your skin. So if you're finding a sulfate-free product, what they've done is they found a alternative that will do that job that is supposedly more gentle. So it's supposed to be more gentle. So the main reason why, like, say your hairdresser doesn't want you to use sulfates in your shampoo is because it will strip the color, it'll strip the dye out of your hair, as well as the oils from your hair. So if you already have dry, brittle hair or very dry skin, it's gonna make it more dry, which, especially this time of year in March, February here in St. Louis, it's really cold and really dry, and you just need all the moisture you can get. You just want to just slather it on and just like soak in it, because I feel like a dried out sponge right now. It's so dry. Okay, so why is it important to remove oil? Because that's a good question that we should know about, because our body is constantly producing oil. Oil is good for us. The oil in our body is good for us. But what happens is bacteria, those dirty little buggers, come in from the air, and they come in from different places, and they like to eat the oil on our body. And when they eat the oil on our body, they expel gross things, because that's what you do when you eat something and you expel. It's always gross. Never seen it not be gross, have you? Yeah, no, it's always gross. So and they cause odor, and they cause, again, more bacteria. And that bacteria can lead to breakout. It can also lead to smell on the body. So you want to remove that oil and that bacteria to be clean and free and not have any of that nastiness. And your body's just is gonna produce more oil. Or if you're very dry like me, dry sponge, you can put on lotions and moisturizers and things like that that have a oil in it that hasn't been contaminated by bacteria. So it's basically, you're just constantly fighting bacteria. You put oil on, you take it off. Put oil on, you take it off, because of bacteria. You're just trying to keep the bacteria out of the whole program there. That's essentially what sulfates are about. Now, there are people saying, there is information out there saying that sulfates have a carcinogen in them. What they do is there is a element of sulfates that has not been proven. They're still investigating whether or not this is a carcinogen, whether or not this particular ingredient or aspect of sulfates causes cancer. And it's like, it's a scientific word that's like this long. I'm not even going to try to say it. It's like DH16 something. I'm not even going to try to say it, but it's a aspect of sulfates that they are studying to see whether or not this is a carcinogen. Now, here's the thing. This goes back to what I said earlier. Everything out there is dangerous to you, especially in high amounts. So for those of you that don't know from either basic biology from high school, whether you haven't attended that yet because you're really young, or you just don't remember because it's been a while since you've had it, we have arsenic in our bodies. We need arsenic in our body to be healthy. But yet, too much arsenic is going to poison you, and you will die a very horrible, terrible death from it. So that is kind of like what this chemical is. Now, the FDA has approved the use of this chemical. It's been used for, and it's an element of the chemical. So saying a chemical is not an accurate terminology. However, the FDA, for those of us in America, has proven that there is no specific link to cancer from this, and also in Canada and a few other Western countries as well. So if you're not in the U.S., it's not just the U.S. conspiracy issue. So at this point, I would say use sulfates if you want. Know that they're going to be stripping, and if you have a very dry skin and you don't want your skin stripped, then don't use sulfates. If you color and spend a lot of money on your hair getting it colored and you don't want your color stripped from your shampoo, then don't use sulfates. I wouldn't worry so much about the cancer. They call it a myth, because it has been unproven at this point. But unless you are someone who either has an extremely high risk of cancer or is currently going through cancer treatments, I wouldn't worry about it, because I really don't think that there's enough in the product to really cause for concern. The science hasn't proven it yet, and I think that's the key factor. I think sometimes we get a little bit paranoid about the chemicals, and you know what? I don't blame you for that. This is why I read ingredients. I want to be educated on what I'm putting in and on my body. And so it's really important to do that, but also realize that, you know, sometimes a little bad is actually good for you, hence the arsenic. Sometimes a little bad is actually what you really need. It's all about balance and how much is used. So I hope you found this video educational, all about sulfates, and whether or not you want to use them, that's up to you. That is your decision. Be educated on it. And again, if you're really, really concerned about the cancer issue, be aware of that, you know, and if it's not as big of a deal for you, then don't worry about it. Alrighty, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye! Oh, comment down below, are you going to keep using sulfates or not? And please subscribe and like and share this video. Thank you very much. And again, I am not a scientist, I'm just a beauty junkie with an inquiring mind. Thank you guys, bye!